Greetings, Gator fans. I'm Bryan Montgomery, joined today by Ashley Hughes, the head coach of the Allegheny Women's Lacrosse program, as we preview the 2015 season for the Gators. Coach, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
So we start the 2015 season on the heels of an absolutely historic 2014 campaign, 15-2, a program mark for most wins, best start. Didn't go as far as you wanted to, a setback in the NCAC semifinals. Just kind of looking at that last season, how motivated are these returners to get back to where they were last year?
I think motivation is the right word to use, as well as confidence. I think after having a wonderful season last year, it really gave us the confidence to feel that we're a consistent competitor in this conference. And with that, I think that we know now that we can build off of last season and come in strong this year instead of trying to be underdogs. Now we're a team that's a force to be reckoned with.
Obviously, we had a great year last year. Losing in the last second always is tough, but I think it really motivated our training in the off season over the summer and now into this winter.
I think we had a really successful season last year, but we definitely want more this year. We want an NCAC title on that banner. So looking back, kind of the returners have this fire in them to get that name up there. So.
And then let's kind of look at the team. From a position standpoint, starting first with attack, you bring back Mackenzie Bell, who last season set the career and single-season marks for assists. She's been a threat since her freshman season here, and really reinforced by just a huge group of returners, several All-NCAC, several All-Region coming back on the offensive end. Just kind of looking at that, and including freshmen, throw them into the mix as well. Can you kind of break down that attack position for us?
Sure. So we certainly came off a great season last year of trying to become more of a team offense instead of relying on a few of our stud players. This year I think that we're going to push our attackers, Mackenzie, as well as some of the other returners, to really become more of a all-around attacking force. Mackenzie obviously is a great feeder, but now we're asking her to really be a shooter as well, and pushing the rest of our attack players to do the same thing. With the addition of our two freshmen, Lee and Shelby, I think that we're going to really be able to be an attack that's all the way around a solid shooting and feeding attack system. So we're changing up our offensive style a little bit to accommodate that. Ask the midfielders to play a little bit of a different role this season in the attack as well. You know, we have every single person that goes in can be a threat, and that's something that we're pretty proud of, that we have a group that is able to do that. And
then you mentioned that midfield core kind of being more towards the offensive side. Last year, that was a big part of the team's success, was that transition game in the midfield, of being able to push the ball up the field. Looking at that midfield core, Kelsey Rogers coming back as an All-NCAC selection last year. Gusty Mee was a captain. Alyssa Rappelche had a great year. Kind of how's that midfield squad looking in the preseason?
With having such a elite returning group in the midfield, we can kind of take some of our focus off of them because they know what's happening already. They didn't have to learn the defense again like we went through last year. They can really just start fine-tuning some of their skills. Being able to throw Kelsey back in the midfield will be a great addition for us to be able to have that dynamic explosiveness in the transition. We're really looking to push the transition this year, play a much faster game with that group of attackers that are going to be really smart offensive players. We feel we're going to be able to push the transition a lot more and hope that the attackers make the right decision as to if we want to look to go to goal or we need to settle the play down a little bit. So with that, I think our midfield group will be a great kind of connector between the defense and the attack. They're great defensive players that really put some high pressure on the other offensive team. We're looking forward to continuing to watch them be successful on the defensive side as well.
You know, in practice we've been working on the really small stuff, like you said, and I think it's like paid off, especially in the play day when we were looking at the transition and stuff. We looked really good. I think just in general, like working on the little stuff is something that we needed, and I think that that's really going to benefit us when we're playing as well.
You know? And looking at that defense, probably the part of the squad that has experienced the most turnover. You had 4 seniors graduate last year, 3 of them were on the defensive side. But however, you do return an all-conference goalkeeper in Kaylin Flogan. You do have a lot of depth in that defensive position. Just once again, walk us through that spot. What are you expecting from the defensive line?
A young group for sure. We have Lenny Brown and Colleen Bodner leading the way as sophomores, which is maybe the first time as a coach I've ever said I'm having 2 sophomores lead a defensive group, but they both had some experience last year, really looking to get them into that leadership position as starters this year. A couple freshmen are going to see a lot of starting time, which is a great opportunity for us as a group to start building a defensive core as freshmen and sophomores that we can build into in the coming years. Returning some great goalie talent as well, which always is helpful for us to have that backbone to the defense. With us being so young, we've definitely done a ton of reps in practice and just making sure that they're on the same page with the defense. But it should be interesting this year. We're really asking some young players to step up big to be experienced upperclassmen, despite the fact that they might have only been with us for a season or 2.
You know, I mean, what better way to start than with an absolutely jam-packed non-conference schedule this year? You're leading it off on Monday against Buffalo State, who's always a very strong competitor in the SUNY Conference. You head down to Florida this year to take on Western New England in the nationally ranked rowing, and then finally you come back to Midfield and you start the ever-difficult NCAC slate once again. Just looking overall at this team, a couple weeks into preseason, you have yet to go outside, but you kind of get the sense of what the team has to offer here in the indoor courts. Kind of what are your expectations and what are you looking for from this team?
Yeah, I think the hardest part so far has just been the weather, as I'm sure it has been for much of the eastern side of the country. But I think with that, as being inside has really allowed us to fine-tune our smaller game. We've been working on some smaller individualized skills as well as our settled play. So I'm hopeful that that will be the least of our concerns in these first upcoming games. The transition might be a little sloppy right off the bat, but like I said, we have a great group of experienced midfielders, so I'm hoping that that goes off seamlessly.
For us, it's just like growing as a team, growing better as players, and having fun on the field. And
we have some great new freshmen in that mix on the attacking end to kind of make new connections and be even more of a threat on attack this season.
Yeah, especially with our competitive non-conference schedule, we're just looking to get better each week to prepare us for the NCAC, compete for the championship like we try to do every year, and then individually just try to stay consistent, help the team in big games, and get better every day.
As far as the competition goes, you know, we really wanted to increase our competition this year so that we were ready for the NCAC play. Felt like last year we had a slow start, having to make some big comeback wins against Denison and Worcester, and I'm hopeful that with these tougher games right off the bat, it'll give us a better sense of the pace that we need to be playing at to be that NCAC champion that we are striving to be. So I'm hopeful that with that, a trip down to Florida, a return to play Mount Union before we kick off the NCAC will be a good test for us to really judge where we are and what we need to continue to work on.
Well, Coach, thank you so much for joining us, and best of luck to you this upcoming season.
Thank you. Go Gators.
And Gator fans, be sure to keep it locked in at AlleghenyGators.com for all of your up-to-date Gators info.